TikTok has gone crazy over a mass murderer's letter called Letter to America by Osama bin Laden. Today, we are going to be breaking that down. Without further ado, let's begin.
Facts over tracks, listen that, spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past.
So we actually have the full text from Osama bin Laden, and this is actually labeled Letter to America. This was on November 24th, 2002, and the person that I got this from, they said, please no images have been removed from this document, page numbers has been added. So let's begin with the article here. We'll be going through it and actually correcting it as it goes on, and we'll be breaking it down because everybody on TikTok is saying, oh my god, this is the letter that shows everything that we've been saying, and we're right and you're wrong and blah 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 blah. No, that's not true at all. This whole entire letter, and never mind just the letter, if you are on the same exact page as a terrorist, that right there needs to be said that your ideology has gone on way too far. Your ideology has gone way too far if you are if you are on the same exact side as an actual terrorist. Okay, that's when you know your ideology has just taken a grip over society to the extent that it can no longer be saved. So, without further ado, let's just dig into the article, shall we? So, starting off, we have one document, the full text of Osama bin Laden's letter to American people reported in today's Observer. The letter first appeared on the internet in Arabic and has since been translated and circulated by Islamists in Britain. This is the start of the article right here. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful, permission to fight against disbelievers is given to those believers who have fought against because they have been wronged, and surely Allah is able to give them, believers, victory. So he says that there is going to be victory because he believes in Allah. So, quote, those who believe fight in the cause of Allah, and those who disbelieve fight in the cause of thought, anything worshipped other than Allah, example, Satan. So fight you against the friends of Satan, ever feeble and indeed the plot of Satan. Quran 476. Some American writers have published articles under the title, Oh, What is the Basis of Fighting? These articles have generated a number of responses, some of which adhered to the truth and were based in Islamic law, and others have not. Here we wanted to outline the truth as an explanation and warning, hoping for Allah's reward, seeking success and support from Him. While seeking Allah's help, we form our reply based on two questions directed at the Americans. Why are we fighting and opposing you? And what are we calling you to do? And what do we want from you? As if he's in the moral superiority in this. He's really not. As for the first question, why are we fighting and opposing you? The answer is very simple. Because you attacked us and continue to attack us. So, he says that the reason that they attacked us is that we attacked them first, but that's not true. Starting in 1956, Israel, France, and the United Kingdom attacked Egypt in an attempt to seize Suez Canal and overthrow Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser. But the president at the time of the United States pressured the countries to remove their troops, which they did. But if we actually fast forward to 1973, we can see that Nixon ultimately supported Israel during the Yom Kippur War of 1973, a key moment that may have saved the country. Quote, most historians of that region think that the United States munitions support was essential to Israelis' survival at that point. Nixon's Secretary of State, Henry Kissinger, also engaged in a so-called shuttle diplomacy, engineering an end to the war, and suddenly reopening the Suez Canal under President General Ford. Because of the fact that Nixon defunded Israel, Arab nations cut off their oil supply to the United States and gas prices rose. You can tell that they were very mad at this point, but if this is what Osama bin Laden was talking about, then good. Israel was being attacked, so then we, America, helped. Fast forwarding to Carter, he brought Israeli Prime Minister Begin and Egyptian President Anwar Sadat together to Camp David. He brought these two together to Camp David Accords, which created a lasting peace between Israel and Egypt. Its Arab neighbors to the south, again jumping to 1983, Ronald Reagan emphasized closer ties with Israel. Again, jumping to 1983, General Ronald Reagan emphasized closer ties with Israel, a path that contributed to tension for the United States panel in the region. United States Marines were sent to Lebanon as part of a peacekeeping force after Israel invaded to pursue members of the Palestine Liberation Organization. The United States Embassy and the United States Marine Barracks were both bombed. In Beirut, Lebanon, 1983, George W. Bush tried to ensure United States funds would not be used for the West Bank settlements, causing more tension with Israel. He also helped bring the Israelis together with other nations to begin the Middle East peace process in Madrid, which included Palestinians who were recognized as members of the Jordan entourage. It was separate talks, not facilitated by the United States, that yielded a normalization of relations between Israel and neighboring Jordan and Oslo Accords between Israel and Palestinian Liberation Organization. The United States was always at the forefront of brokering deals to create peace in the Middle East, and if we look at 1993 during the Clinton era, we can see that Clinton was the closest to brokering peace between Israel and Palestinians. Drafting on the Oslo Accords in 1993, Clinton stood behind an historic handshake between then Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat and Israeli Prime Minister Joachim Rubin. The Middle East leaders, along with Israeli Prime Minister Shimon Peres, were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, but their agreement, which set up the Palestinian Authority as a normal government for Palestinians, left the issue of Jerusalem undecided and did not lead to lasting peace. But obviously, this was paused because of the terrorism that took place on 9/11, but 2 years later in 2003, peace talks continued when Bush, Sharon, and Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas did agree to pursue the roadmap for peace, another attempt to pushing toward a two-state solution that ultimately failed, but did see Israel remove its troops from Gaza. That was something Bush discussed with Sharon during a friendly meeting on his ranch in Crawford, Texas, although the men disagreed over the construction of West Bank settlements. So this, again, is just telling you that what he's saying is just pure fabrication. Obviously, he's looking at it in a one-sided view. Obviously, he's going to be doing this. He only has one view, and that's himself and the countries that ally with him. Obviously, he's not going to go out on a limb and say, oh no, well, you did do some things that are good throughout the past, but right now you're doing me wrong. No, he's not going to sit here and say that. He's just going to sit here and say, this is disgusting what you're doing and blah, blah. It's all negative because he wants to justify what he's going to be doing in the year. And he says that we attacked Palestine. Palestine, which has sunk under military occupation for more than 80 years, the British handed over Palestine with your help and your support to the Jews who have occupied it for more than 50 years. Years overflowing with occupation, tyranny, crime, killing, explosion, destruction, and devastation. The creation of continuation of Israel is the most greatest crimes, and you are leaders of the criminals. And of course, there is no need to explain and prove the degree of American support for Israel. The creation of Israel is a crime which must be erased. Each and every person whose hands have become polluted in the contribution towards the crime must pay its price and pay it heavenly. So obviously this is just pure anti-Semitism. It brings us together with tears to see that you have not yet tried of repeating your fabricated lies that the Jews have a historical right to Palestine as it was promised to them in the Torah. Anyone who disputes them of this alleged fact is accused of anti-Semitism, which it is anti-Semitism. This is one of the most fallacious, widely circulated fabrications in history. The people of Palestine are pure Arabs and the original Semites, which is obviously completely wrong, including Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon all of them. If the followers of Moses have been promised a right to Palestine in the Torah, then the Muslims are the most worthy nation of this. See, I mean, obviously this is something that he does not understand either, because obviously it's just one-sided. He has allies and he's going to try to make sure that they are in the right and we are in the wrong. And the blood pouring out of Palestine must be equally revenged. You must know that the Palestinians do not cry alone. Their women are not widowed alone, and their sons are not orphaned alone. Okay, but you caused thousands and thousands of people to lose their livelihoods too. So two wrongs don't make it right. It doesn't really make a lot of sense there. Therefore, the American people are the ones who chose their government way of their own free will, a choice which stems from their agreement to its policies. The American people have chosen to, consisted to, and affirmed their support for Israeli occupation of the Palestinians, the occupation and the usurpation of their land, and its continuous killing, torture, punishment, expulsion of the Palestinians. The American people have the ability to choose to refuse their policies of these governments, and even to change it if they want. The American people are the ones who pay taxes, which fund the planes, which bomb us in Afghanistan. What he does not understand was the reason why we even went into Afghanistan was because of the fact that he caused 9/11. The Taliban took credit for killing thousands of American citizens, so Bush declared a war on terror. Bin Laden has no one to blame Franklin but himself. Question number 2. As for the second question that we want to answer, what are we calling you to do, and what do we want from you? The first thing we are calling you to is Islam. So he's calling for America to switch to Islam instead of God. Then we would have to, according to Allah, burn the homosexuals with fire, and then they should be thrown down from a high place, then have stones thrown at them. Obviously, in Islam, they do not celebrate gay people at all. So if you do support Palestine, then you do support Allah, and you do support the right for the Palestinians to actually behead people, which happened this year, that are actually gay. So you support that if you support Palestinians. So we will call for your people, manners, principles, honor, and purity to reject the immoral acts of fornication, homosexuality, toxins, gamblings, and trading with interest. It is saddening to tell you that you are the worst civilization witnessed in the history of mankind. You are the nation that permits usury, which has been forbidden by all religions, yet you build your economy and investments on usury. As a result of this, in all different forms and guises, the Jews have taken control of your economy, which is just anti-Semitic at this point, through which they have taken control of your media and now control all aspects of your life, making you their servants and achieving their aims at your expense. Precisely what Benjamin Franklin warned you against. So, this is actually the biggest misinformation in this whole entire article, because Benjamin Franklin actually never said any of this. What he is talking about is actually the Franklin prophecy, is an anti-Semitic speech falsely attributed to Benjamin Franklin, warning of the supposed dangers of admitting Jews to the nascent United States. The speech was purposely transcribed by Charles Cottonworth Priestley during the Constitutional Convention of 1787, but was unknown before its appearance in 1934 in the pages of William Duble's Pursley Silver Legion pro-Nazi magazine Liberation. No evidence exists of this document's authenticity, and some of Priestley's claims have actively been disproven. So obviously, from the very beginning to the very end, he has misinformation and disinformation, what the media loves to say, written all over this letter. So he's going to sit here and say, oh no, you, America, are taking the side of the people that are wrong, and you have misinformation all over the place. But then he's going to riddle his letter to America, his reasons for killing us, America, with total fabrications and total misinformation, just because of the fact that he wants a justification for killing thousands of American citizens. It's disgusting at this point. So I mean, it's not just that this letter is disgusting, but it's also disgusting that a bunch of people on social media are taking this letter and saying that they agree with it.
I read Letter to America, which is Osama bin Laden's letter.
The same. I will never look at this country the same.
I need you to stop what you're doing and go read.
That terrorism has been sold as this idea to the American people, and honestly just so many Western inhabitants. In majority of these situations, and this letter was insanely eye-opening.
Seriously, go read it. Type Letter to America in Google or whatever you...
When they're just taking little bits and pieces of it and then reading it and saying, oh no, I agree with this part. No, you should not agree with any part of a terrorist regime leader that killed thousands of people. The reason why a lot of Americans do not understand the full extent of what 9/11 actually was is because of the fact that it was more than 20 years ago. It's completely forgotten. I mean, it's sad, but it's true that this needs to happen again for people to realize the repercussions of this, the actual damages of this, and what it actually does to people and what it does to families. Because 9/11 is not a laughing matter. 9/11 is not a joke. So a lot of people seem to forget the harshness of war when it's not in your back door. Or when it's not in your backyard. But when it's in somebody else's backyard, they completely just forget about it. They're like, no, let's kill. No. We are reminded constantly, if we look back on 9/11 tapes, of what the actual repercussions of war is. And no, the letter is not right at all. We, as America, try to make sure that the rest of the world is protected by protecting our allies. That's exactly what we, America, does. But a lot of countries don't like that because of the fact that they just want to completely obliviate our allies. And they think that we, as in the United States, is not going to just go in and protect our allies. And it's sad. It really is. But with that being said, we're going to be digging into the headlines of the week. actually have an AP News article. Now, the AP News is not even going to try to be nonpartisan in this case. It just does not even care about being nonpartisan. So what it is going to be doing is going to give its one-sided view and one-sided narrative of this event. Speaker Johnson says that he'll make 44,000 hours of January 6 footage available to the general public. This is actually a good thing, but of course, the media is going to spin it into a bad thing and blah, blah, blah. So this is exactly what the AP News says over here. Washington, AP News. House Speaker Mike Johnson said Friday he plans to publicly release thousands of hours of footage from the January 6, 2021 attack on the United States Capitol, making good on a promise he made to far-right members of his party when he was campaigning for the job. This is a one-sided media. This is a one-sided narrative that they want to push, that only bad things happened on January 6th. That was not true. I mean, obviously, only bad things happened. The Capitol Police actually killed Ashley Babbitt, which was a peaceful protester, but that's besides the point. This is what Johnson said in a statement. This decision will provide millions of Americans, criminal defendants, public interest organizations, and the media an ability to see for themselves what happened on that day, rather than having to rely upon an interpretation of a small group of government officials. The newly elected speaker said the first tranche of security footage, around 90 hours, will be released on the Public Committee's website on Friday, with the rest of the 44,000 hours to be expected to be posted over the next several months. In the meantime, a public viewing room will be set up in the Capitol for viewing the footage. For the last several months, the GOP-led House Administration Committee has made the video available by appointment only to members of the media, criminal defendants, and a limited number of people. This video shows some of the fighting up close and it gives a bird's-eye view of the Capitol complex, one that visitors rarely see, as hundreds of President Donald Trump supporters stormed the building, violently attacking police officers and breaking in through the windows and doors. Okay, so they're saying that this is all violent and blah, 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 but why is it that when BLM protests turn violent, they don't say any of this? They're like, no, this is a peaceful protest right here, and there's a building on fire in back of them. Peaceful protest, guys, there's no reason to overreact. But then when there's an actual peaceful protest, but then partly because of the FBI informants in the crowd, and because of undercover FBI agents, we have people actually breaking into the White House now. And you can see on that day with people that had body cameras on themselves, with people saying, let's go, let's raid the Capitol, let's go. And then people are like, people are just calling him a undercover cop, and they're calling him a fed. That's what they keep saying at these people, because they know that they're just trying to get them to do a bad thing so then they can arrest him. By expanding his access to the general public, Johnson is fulfilling one of the pledges he made last month to the most conservative members of the party, including Rep. Matt Gaetz, Republican from Florida, who orchestrated the ouster of former Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Both Gaetz and Trump, who is currently running for re-election as he faces federal charges for his role in the January 6th attack, applaud Johnson's decision. In a post to Truth social media platform, Trump congratulated the speaker for having the courage and the fortitude to release the footage. The move by Johnson will grant the general public a stunning level of access to sensitive and explicit January 6 security footage, which many critics have warned could endanger the safety of staff and members of the Capitol complex if it gets into the wrong hands. The hours of footage detail not only shockingly assault rioters made on the United States Capitol Police as they breached the building, but also how the rioters accessed the building and the routes lawmakers used to flee to safety. Okay, so this all needs to be said to the public, not because of the fact that we're going to use this in the wrong way, but because of the fact that you, the media, has been saying all of this BS about what took place on that day. So we need to know the truth about what happened on that day. That's exactly what should have happened since the very beginning. We should have knew exactly the whole entire time frame of what's happening since the very beginning to the end of the day. There should be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We, the American people, deserve to know what's happening in our capital. That's it's just so simple. So I just don't understand why people want to sit back and say, oh, no, you, the people, do not deserve to see anything. No, we, the people, do deserve to see everything that unfolded on that day from start to finish. It's just so easy to understand at this point. So, with that being said, we do have another article, and it's actually not an article. It's actually a clip from CNN. So CNN actually went on live with not Tucker Carlson. I wish that would be so funny if CNN had Tucker Carlson. No, if it actually went live with Ron DeSantis, and they were asking him if he thinks that Trump is actually too old to be running for either president or anything else in the future. And this is Ron DeSantis' response to the question.
Campaign keeps a running list and keeps tweeting a running list of Donald Trump's fumbles and accidents and confused moments. That's what they call them, saying this is why his handlers won't let him debate, noting times that Trump has forgotten what state he's in, times that Trump has confused Obama and Biden, times he's confused Nikki Haley and Kristi Noem, and on and on. What exactly are you saying about Donald Trump's mental fitness? Do you think he's too old to be president?
Okay, so I know exactly why they're doing this. This is exactly because of the fact that they want Ron DeSantis to say, oh, I don't think that Trump is fit to be president because this, and this, and this. He's obviously going to sit here and say the truth about what he actually feels about Trump. CNN has all outcomes of this situation is positive. Yes, because of the fact that you're saying Joe Biden is old. Yes, you're also saying Trump is old, but Trump is the bad guy. So all they care about is the fact that you're saying that Trump is unfit to be president. They're going to use that out of context, and they're just going to use that to attack Trump. Now, of course, Trump is very old. I think that we should be getting younger and younger, but he does have almost 50% of the polls right now, so there's nothing that we can do. He's going to be winning the presidency, and it's not really looking that good for Ron DeSantis. I mean, I'm sorry to say it, but it's the truth.
So I've said publicly the presidency is not a job for an 80-year-old. Donald Trump would actually be older on January 20th, 2025 than Biden was on January 20th, 2021. But I think it's part of a larger issue that this is not the same guy as the Trump in 2015 and 16. That Trump would show up on the debate stage. He'd barnstorm. You know, yes, he was off color. He was edgy, but it was all part of an idea that he was really going to shake things up. Now he's wedded to the teleprompter. He's not willing to debate, and he's running on many of the same things he promised to do in 2016 and didn't deliver. For example, he said he was going to build a wall and have Mexico pay for it. Jake, he didn't build the wall, and Mexico sure didn't pay for it because you would not have been able to have 8 million people come in illegally if we had a fully constructed wall. He also said he would drain the swamp, and yet the swamp is more powerful than ever. So he didn't do it the first time. I don't know what makes you think he's going to do it this time, but he should show up to debate, prove that he can sit on that stage for 2 hours, defend his record, defend his decisions, and tell people why he should be the choice going forward. Because what I've made the point is simple. Donald Trump's a high-risk proposition as a nominee because I think the chance of him getting elected is small, but it's a low reward because he's going to be a lame duck on day one. Even if he could get elected, he would not be able to attract the type of talent to work in his administration, and he'd be saddled with all these distractions that it'd be virtually impossible to get the job done.
Okay, so before Jake Tapper actually responds, this is exactly what they wanted from Ron DeSantis. They wanted him to attack Trump directly. This is an attack directed at Trump. Now, obviously, it's purely about his age, but he's also saying that other stuff that CNN didn't really ask him for. So, I mean, obviously, Jake Tapper is not going to stop him while he's answering the question, especially when he's going down the path that they want him to go. But also at the same exact time, for me, I would think that Ron DeSantis really shouldn't be. I mean, yeah, I think that it's in his time right now should be attacking Trump, but also at the same exact time, if you attack Trump too much, then you're not going to get the support that he has, and he has almost 50% of the vote. Do you really want to be testing your luck here? Do you think that those 50% of people that would vote for Trump would vote for you just because he's old now? Everybody knows that Trump is old. It's not really a difference anymore, if you know what I'm saying. Also, at the same exact time, he's saying that he's going to be a lame duck on day one. That's a direct hit on Trump. Obviously, Trump has called him so many names at this point. DeSantis was trying to ignore it, and it's kind of funny seeing them battle it out. So I think that we should have a debate between the two of them, but we are going to be getting a debate on the 30th of this month, 11/30, of DeSantis and Governor Newsom actually debating, which we will be reacting to here. Now let's see what Jake Tapper says.
But are you and your campaign saying that he has lost his sharpness, his mental acuity, and are you saying he'll lose to Joe Biden?
He looks scared. Ron DeSantis looks pretty scared.
Well, I wouldn't be running unless I thought that the Democrats would beat Trump if he were the nominee. I mean, they're going very easy on him right now. I mean, they're not saying much. The minute if he were to be the nominee, I mean, you're going to see scorched earth. You're going to see all this stuff brought up from the past, and the whole election will end up being a referendum on Donald Trump. And Biden will be able to hang out in the basement, and I think he'll be able to get away with it again. Look. When you get to this point, the presidency is not a job for somebody that's pushing 80 years old. I just think that that's something that has been shown with Joe Biden. Father time is undefeated. Donald Trump is not exempt from any of that. I think with somebody like me, you go in, I'm in the prime of my life. I go in day one. I'll serve 2 terms, deliver big results, and get the country moving again. That's what Republican voters want to see.
I see what he's doing here. I see exactly what he's trying to achieve at this point. He's trying to set up the go-ahead for people to actually be voting for him instead of Trump. And I can see why he's doing this. I don't know if it's going to be the best play, though, because at the same exact time, we have a lot of leeway within the Republican candidates right now because of the fact that there's a lot of things going on. Obviously, Trump actually has 50% of the polls right now. So if we really were that concerned about age, then why would he have 50% of the polls? I mean, it doesn't really make much sense. But also at the same exact time, Ron DeSantis is purely looking out for himself at this point. And then he's going to, if he's not going to raise any more in the polls, he's going to switch positions real quick. I mean, also at the same exact time, I think that Trump has a really good chance, but he's going to get arrested. One of the cases, he has so many cases, 73 cases. If he gets arrested on one of them, he cannot pardon himself. Nobody can pardon him. There's nothing that he can do. If he's arrested, that's going to be unprecedented. We're going to have a president in the United States that was arrested and cannot fulfill the duties. So he's going to have to be doing something. So I just don't understand how Trump's going to be able to fulfill his duties of being president while at the same exact time being arrested. Does not make much sense to me. But with that being said, we're going to be digging into the media's takes.
No, I'm not a writer. Okay.
So digging right into the media's takes, we actually have a Daily Wire article. We have Iranian-backed terrorists siege cargo ship in Red Sea. So the Iranian-backed terrorists from Yemen reportedly seized a cargo ship in the Red Sea on Sunday, which comes after a terrorist group had recently threatened to target Israeli-flagged vessels in the area. The Jerusalem Post reported that the Bahamas-flagged Galaxy Leader cargo ship was leased to a Japanese company from a British company that is partially owned by an Israeli businessman. Israel strongly condemns the Iranian attack against an international vessel. The Israeli government said in a statement, the ship, which is owned by a British company, is operated by a Japanese firm, was hijacked with Iran guidance by the Yosemite military. The statement said that there were 25 crew members on the ship from all over the world, but none were from Israel. The 620-foot ship had left a port in Turkey and was headed to India, where it was seized by the terrorists. This is another act of Iranian terrorism, and it constitutes a leap forward in the Iranians' aggression against the citizens of the free world, with the international consequences regarding the security of the global shipping lanes, the statement concluded. Earlier in the day, the Houthis said, through one of their media outlets, that they would be targeting all types of ships that carry the flag of Zionist entity or are operated by or owned by Israeli companies, calling on all countries in the world to withdraw their citizens and working on crews of the enemy entity ships and avoid shipping on them. The Houthis has launched missiles and drones at Israel in the weeks following the October 7th Hamas terrorist attack. The United States Navy shot down approximately 24 drones and 3 cruise missiles fired by the Houthis late last month. Officials said that the USS Carney, a guided missile destroyer, shot down the drones after they swamped the ship. They did not disclose the munitions used to shoot down the missiles or the drones. Jonathan Sizer senior vice president of research at the Foundation of Defense and Democracies, highlighted and translated a social media post from the Houthi official published around the time news broke that the Houthi has sieged the cargo vessel. The post said, "Allah is the greatest, death to America, death to Israel, F the Jews, victory for Islam." That's what they said on their Twitter account. And he said, "Any questions?" So that's how he ends off the tweet right there. And it's just disgusting. Now, it's one thing to just keep your war within the country that you're fighting, but now when you're going above and beyond and involving other countries, that's a total different thing right now. So they need to just calm down, target who they want to target, and that's about it. Don't go above and beyond and try to target other people, even though they have nothing to do with the war. With that being said, we do have another article. We actually have another Daily Wire article. We have Texas Governor Abbott endorses Trump. Now, obviously, we knew that this was going to happen. They were close. They were very close during his presidency. Governor Abbott is a pretty good governor. There's a lot of things that he did that I don't agree with. There's a lot of things that he did that I do agree with, like this. I mean, more and more governors are endorsing Trump. More and more governors are endorsing DeSantis. And I don't think a lot of people are actually endorsing Nikki Haley. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that those are the top three. Vivek Ramaswamy has no chance. Also, there's a couple other candidates that actually have no chance. So it's just a closed case right here. This is what he said. "We need a president who is going to secure the border," Abbott said. "We need a president who is going to restore law and order in the United States of America, not letting these criminals ransack over the stories that you see images of almost nightly. We need a president who is going to restore world peace as opposed to this outbreak of warfare under Joe Biden. We need Donald J. Trump back as our president of the United States of America. I'm here to officially proclaim my endorsement for Donald J. Trump to be president of the United States of America again." Trump said that it was a tremendous honor to get Abbott's endorsement while speaking to an audience of a few hundred supporters. Trump again suggested during the rally that he would build the border wall if elected, saying that he would make Abbott's job much easier because walls work. Abbott reinstated some of the comments from his Abbott rearticulated some of the comments from his endorsement of Trump in a post on X Sunday afternoon. "Today, I'm proud to endorse Donald J. Trump for president," Abbott wrote. "Now more than ever, America needs a president who will secure the border and prioritize national security. President Trump is the clear choice to get the job done." And I completely agree. Obviously, it's time to get the job done. We need saving more than ever, so we need somebody that's actually going to win. And right now, Trump is the highest in the polls. Now, obviously, the polls is not saying exactly who the winner is going to be and who the winner is going to lose, or who the loser is going to be, because of the fact that it said that Hillary Clinton had a 99% chance of winning the 2016 election, and obviously that was false as hell. So, with that being said, I do not trust the polls fully, but that is the only measurement that we actually have to tell who the candidate that has the highest score is and what it isn't. So that's all I can go out based off. If you have a better idea of where I can get my information from to see what the American people actually enjoy and who the American people actually support, then I would love to hear your answer for this. But right now, there's no other sources that I can look at. With that being said, we do have another Daily Wire article. We have Elon Musk to file thermonuclear suit against Media Matters over contrived story on X. So, X owner Elon Musk said on Saturday that he would be filing a lawsuit against leftist outlet Media Matters for America over a story it ran this week said that it was misleading and intended to undermine free speech. Musk announced that the suit early Saturday morning, promising to file the suit as early as the courts open on Monday. The Media Matters story at the center of the suit was published on Thursday and claimed that X was placing ads for major corporations alongside Nazi-related content. In the aftermath of the story, multiple corporations said that they would be pulling advertising from X, including Apple and IBM. The split second court opens on Monday X Corp will be filing a thermonuclear lawsuit against Media Matters and all those who colluded with this fraudulent attack on our company, Musk said, and indicating that the suit would target the board and their network of dark money. So this is actually the tweet right here. I would love to read it. The split second court opens on Monday. Okay, so that's what I just read. So, stand with X to protect free speech. This week, Media Matters for America posted a story that completely misrepresented the real user experience on X in another attempt to undermine freedom of speech and mislead advertisers. Above everything, including profit, X works to protect the public's right to free speech. But for speech to be fully free, we must also have the freedom to hear or see things that some people may consider objectionable. We believe that everyone has the right to make up their own minds about what they read, watch, or listen to, because that's the power of freedom of speech. Despite our clear and constant position, X has seen a number of attacks from an activist group like Media Matters and legacy media outlets who seek to undermine freedom of expression on our platform because they perceive it as a threat to their ideological narrative and those of their financial supporters. These groups try to use their influence to attack our revenue streams by deceiving advertisers on X. Here are the facts on Media Matters research. To manipulate the public advertisers, Media Matters created an alternative account and curated the posts and advertising appeared on the account's timeline to misinform advertisers about the placement of their posts. These contrived experiences could be applied to any platform. Once they curated their feeds, they reportedly refreshed their timelines to find a rare occurrence of ads serving next to the content that they chose to follow. Our logs indicate that they forced a scenario resulting in 13 times the number of ads served compared to the median ads served on an X user. Of the 5.5 billion ad impressions on X that day, less than 50 total ad impressions were served against all of the organic content featured in the Media Matters article. For one brand showcased in the article, one of its ads ran adjacent to a post 2 times, and that ad was seen in that setting by only 2 users, one of which was the author of Media Matters article. For another brand showcased in the article, 2 of its ads served adjacent to 2 posts 3 times, and that ad was only seen by setting 1 user, the author of Media Matters article. The Media Matters article also highlights 9 posts that they believe should not be allowed on X. Upon evaluation, only 1 of the 9 organic posts featured in the article violated our content policies, and we've taken action on it against our freedom of speech, not reach enforcement approach. Here's a summary of this all. X will protect the public's right to free expression. We will not allow agenda-driven activists or even our own profits to deter our vision. Everyone has a choice on X. User and brand control on X is superior to a year ago. Data wins over allegations. Media Matters does not reflect the user experience on X. As we've seen in some parts of the world, when free expression is taken away, it's very dangerous and hard to get back. That's why the people who've came to us and fought so hard before it. Without freedom of speech, we lose the checks and balances critical for a thriving democracy. We must defend our individual rights as if our lives in flourishing society depend on it, and it does. If you're really in and protecting free speech, then we all need to protect it completely. Stand with X to protect free speech. And I completely agree. That's exactly why they're trying to attack X, because of the fact that he's not going to sit here and cave down to the woke policies that the woke companies are going to try to force him to do. So, I mean, obviously, I loved X. I mean, X has been more fun under Elon Musk. X has been so much better under Elon Musk because of the fact that he actually knows how to run a business, and he knows how to make and he actually knows how to make the case for stuff. I mean, he articulates his written speech a lot better than what he actually does talking, because of the fact that when he's talking, it's not the best for a lot of people because he's making a lot of uhs and stuff like that. But at the same exact time, if you actually listen to what he's saying, he really articulates it well. But of course, there's a lot of uhs and stuff like that in his sentences, so a lot of people don't really want to listen to that. For me, I like listening to him because it just sounds smart. Like, you can actually learn a lot just by listening to him. That's exactly what I did. I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast, and I said, you know what, let me actually listen to what Elon Musk thinks. And after listening to him, I've invested in Tesla, and because of that, I made triple, even 5 times my money because I invested at that very point that I listened to it. Now, at that point, obviously, with Tesla being up at that point, now it's down. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm still 4 times X my money. So for me, I have a vested interest in promoting Tesla, but also at the same exact time, I do not own a Tesla, and I own a Toyota. So that's just that right there. We do have another article before we break, though. This is the last article we have. We have Christie pushes back on the United Nations, claiming Israel is committing war crimes. I was there and I saw what was coming. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie pushed back over the weekend on claims from the United Nations that Israel was committing war crimes inside Gaza. Christie, who is running for a Republican presidential nomination, made the remarks during a Sunday interview with Christian Walker on NBC News Meet the Press while discussing his recent trip to Israel. The United Nations human rights chief said that Israel is, quote, committing war crimes in Gaza. Walker said, based on what you've learned on your trip, do you believe that Israel is following international law? Christie responded, yes, I absolutely do think that Israel is following international law. Christian, and I will tell you, unlike a lot of other people who are expressing opinions about this, I was there and I spoke to leaders in Israel, spoke to the president of Israel, and spoke to members of the Israeli Defense Force. I was 600 yards away from the Gaza border. I went everywhere in Israel to see what's going on, and they are doing everything they can to avoid civilian casualties. The problem is Hamas is forcing these civilians to stay in places where Israel is wanting them to get out of, dropping thousands of leaf loads, sending hundreds of thousands of text messages to warn people away from the areas before they attacked. He continued, it is Hamas that's doing this, and let us not forget that those are the people advocating for a ceasefire. There was a ceasefire on October 6th, and it was Hamas that broke it on October 7th, and I will tell you, I saw the 43-minute video that's been put together by the Israeli government, and from raw footage from not only Israeli sources, but from body cams and dash cams from the Hamas terrorists. What they did on the October 7th was the greatest violation of international law, and the greatest violation of humanity. He continued, in the worst part, Christian, they did it with joy. We had one young man who called back to his family in Hamas in a cell phone that was interrupted and said, Mom, I just killed 10 Jews with my bare hands. Your son is a hero. And his parents cheered him. It's disgusting. That really is disgusting right there. Yeah, that really is disgusting right there. I just don't understand why people are not understanding this. This is exactly what Hamas likes to do. This is exactly what Hamas has trained for since the very beginning, because of the fact that, yes, like I said, they manipulate their children to actually think a certain way about Jewish people. So then when it comes down to the Jewish people, they just hate them. As soon as they see a Jewish person, they just kill them right then and there. So they play games. They play childhood games when they're little called Kill the Jew. What you do is you wear a yarmulke, and then you have your friends act like they're going to kill you. So they stab you, they hit you, stuff like that. And that's a game that they actually play in children age. So I just don't understand why a lot of people are sitting here saying, oh no, this doesn't happen. Oh no, we need a ceasefire. Oh no, that didn't happen like it did. Yes, it did happen like it did. It was on video. It was on video. You cannot deny that it actually happened. What we can deny, what actually did happen, was in Afghanistan, what is in other countries where we don't have footage of this. And what we do know is that we do not go as a civilian in the Western or even in Israel. Israeli Defense Force members, military of Israel, does not go in to Hamas and rape their children, rape their wives, sit there and torture the children in front of the parents, vice versa. They do not torture the parents in front of the children. They don't do that. If there is a terrorist in front of them trying to kill them, they shoot them right in the face, and they're dead. They don't sit there and they rape them over and over again, and they torture them in the bottom of a hospital where the WHO is funding. That's not what the Israeli Defense Force does. That's what Hamas does. So it's just disgusting that a lot of people are taking this moral superiority and saying that Hamas is better because of this, and this, and this. No. There's no moral equivalence in what Israel is doing and what Hamas already did on October 7th. You can't compare the two. It does not work like that. You cannot compare the two. To end it on a partly good note, we do have the review of Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens happening tomorrow. We'll be uploading that, if not tomorrow, then Wednesday. I'm so excited to be reacting to the episode because I still didn't watch it. I'm going to be reacting to it live for you guys here. So if you do want to watch that, stay tuned. Subscribe down below. Turn post notifications on so you know I post that video when I exactly do. And don't forget to like this video, like this episode, so I do know that you like episodes like these, so we can do deep dives into other letters from other world leaders that actually attack the United States as if they're actually in the right. They're not in the right, they're in the wrong, just like the Osama bin Laden that wrote the letter to America, which was filled in misinformation and disinformation, as the mainstream media likes to put it. So, with that being said, we're going to end off this video here. Like I said, if you do like this video, please like and subscribe down below, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you all for watching, and I hope they have a great rest of your day. Bye.